Hello guys and welcome to another video. My name is Parham. I'm an entrepreneur and property investor. And in this video, we are addressing the issue of whether or not I am actually a millionaire. So before I head outside and go into all that detail with you, if you do want to know exactly what my net worth is, drop this video a like. I'll massively appreciate it. And I am going to go into detail, so you're going to find out everything. I'm not going to hold anything back. You're going to get all the information you want. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. As you know, until we get to 1,000 subscribers, you can book a free one-to-one consultation with me. Have a look in the description. There'll be a link in there. And if you want to have a look at the plan for the channel, I mean, bear in mind, we're going to be giving away an investment house at some point in the future. There's a lot going on this channel. So again, in the description, there's an exact plan of what we're going to be doing with this channel and how you're going to be paid the dividends, and we're going to give away money, we're going to give away investments, we're going to give away loads of stuff. It's going to be a really exciting channel to be part of. So please subscribe, and let's get into the video and let's find out all about my situation, because you guys are nosy. Now, why have I decided to do this video? Now, over the last couple of weeks and months, I started my YouTube channel, 2 months ago, and despite the vast majority of all comments and likes and dislikes being positive, and if you have a look at any of my videos, the majority of comments are positive, I've had one or two people just trying to insinuate that maybe not all is as it seems, and maybe Mark hasn't actually created anything of his own, and this is all an illusion. And I guess that's okay. You should question your sources of information and you should have healthy debate around that. But I thought I'd do one video just to clear everything up and explain my position, how I've come to be, within my peer group, be considered fairly wealthy. Now, Loner Boy is absolutely right. I do not own this vehicle, and I'm not just calling him Loner Boy. That was his YouTube handle. I can't remember the rest of it. It had some digits, but the guy deleted the comment afterwards. He said, if I don't own the cars outright, how could I ever consider myself wealthy? And let me be clear, it's because I don't own the cars outright that I consider myself wealthy. Because I understand the game. The game isn't to buy depreciating assets, guys. The game is to buy appreciating assets, to build businesses that create passive income for you, and that you then live off and live a lifestyle where you have these cars on finance or lease. I don't mind which, both of those options are very good, but I want to have appreciating assets that pay for them. So Mark, we get it. You don't own the cars. We can accept that. We can respect you still, but at least tell us you own the house that's behind you. Well, guys, I am sorry to disappoint you. I don't own this property behind me. I rent this property. I do own a lot of property, and I will go into more details when I talk about my asset side in a minute, but this is another one of my liabilities. So this is where I live. I don't own it. I could have bought it at the time. I could certainly have afforded it, but it worked out cheaper to rent. I didn't have to put down as big a down payment, so for me to purchase it, I'd have had to put down £400,000. I'd have then had to pay about £6,000 on a mortgage, but to rent it was only £5,000 a month, and I only had to put £5,000 down. So for me, that made more sense. And I understand those people out there who are saying, actually, that's not a good move. I don't agree with that. I completely respect that opinion. But on pure financials, this makes sense. I will also do a video on this property and why I rent it rather than bought it. And I'll go into a bit more detail, but trust me, when you look at the numbers, it doesn't make any sense to buy this whatsoever. I've lived here for about 1.5 years. In maintenance alone, I know my landlord's had to repair the boiler. No, he's had to change the boiler. The pool had an issue. The fires had an issue. The garage doors had an issue. I mean, we had a storm and tiles were coming off the roof. We live on top of a hill in the middle of nowhere. This is a big, expensive property to run. And just the fit out, the bathrooms, replacing all of those, the kitchen, all of that sort of stuff, that'll be a couple of £100,000 every 10 years. So Mark, how the hell are you a millionaire? You've got a property that you don't own that costs you £5,000 a month. You've got cars you don't own that cost you thousands of pounds every month. How the hell could you consider yourself a millionaire? Well, this is where the video, if you're commercially minded, is going to start to make sense. Because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a property investor. And I'll start with the property side first. My wife and I own about 7 or 8 properties in our personal name. And my wife has an investment company that we own a further sort of 6 or 7. I think it's 6. So in total, I know there's 13 properties. Off the top of my head, walking around the house, I'm not sure how many are in which wrapper, if you like, but basically we own 13 properties with a combined value of about 3.2, 3.3 million, somewhere in that sort of region. And that's the investment side. So those properties obviously pay us rent and they obviously bring us in an income, and that income is equivalent to or greater than the lifestyle that you can see around you. So already, just based on my property income, my passive income is greater than all of my liabilities. I just stopped recording there to see how that shot with me going round the roundabout in the driveway looked, and it looked brilliant. So I'm so pleased with that. Anyway, so my passive income on my properties is equivalent to or greater than the combined cost of my lifestyle. And bear in mind, although the rent's £5,000, that's not the bills. The bills are very, very expensive on a house like this. I think we burn about £1,000 a month of oil, for example, when it's cold. So there are significant running costs when it comes to properties of this size, and do not fool yourself, they get very expensive. I think it's about 6,000 square foot, so it's a lot to heat. So Mark, that's all good and everything, but we haven't worked out whether you're a millionaire yet or not, and I really want to know. Well look, I am going to disclose roughly what my net worth is towards the end of this video, so stay tuned. But on the property side, what I would say is that we've got about £3.3 million worth of property on the investment side. We've also got residential property that is owned, that's currently under development, which has an end value of about £2 million. And I'll explain in another video a bit more about that. So there's some more wealth there. But on the investment side, we've got about £3.3 million worth of property and about £2 million worth of mortgages. So on the investment property alone, I would, or we as a family, would be considered millionaires. The other great thing about the investment property side of things that I just didn't really touch on there is as their prices go up, the value of the properties go up significantly. So last year, where we got a 10% increase in property prices, or 7.9%, look, let's be specific. But a lot of my portfolio, you know, London, Oxfordshire did really, really well. Anyway, 7.9%. I had £3 million worth of property. I added nearly £300,000 worth of capital appreciation to my portfolio. And that's fantastic in a year for doing very, very little. So that's the property side of things taken care of. But my name's Mark, I'm an entrepreneur and a property investor. So where does the entrepreneur leave us? Well, I own and co-own several businesses. I have a marketing company that I'm involved in, an accountancy business, a taxi business. I'm involved in a fast food chain that we launched last year. So there's lots and lots of strings to my bow, and I've been involved in these for a long period of time. So a lot of my wealth has been compounding within those companies for a significant period of time. It's also important to identify at this period, when I say wealth, I'm not just talking about money. I'm also talking about all the skills, the expertise, the brands. They all have value. We turn over a significant amount of money across the group of companies. It's in 8 figures. It's a significant amount of money. Hundreds of people work for us. So there's a lot of skills and there's a lot of stuff that's involved in those businesses. And as such, they're quite valuable. So this is a bit that's a little bit more difficult to value on my portfolio. Obviously, I have stocks and shares, I have funds, I have some other things that are very easy to value, but those are sub sort of £100,000 in total. But this is significant. These are valued in the millions. So it's a little bit more hard to put an exact figure on it. So clearly we have to come up with a way of valuing these sort of companies, especially ones that are on a strong growth curve. And I think it would be fair to say that if we were to put a valuation on the group, my share would be somewhere in the region between £3 and £4 million, maybe 5, depending on how you valued it. And please, please, please don't think that I'm saying any of this to give you any sort of brag or flex or anything like that. It's not for that sake at all. It's just to outline exactly my position, who I am and who you're listening to, right? At the end of the day, I understand when people are questioning my position because they're trying to find out, okay, well, who is Mark Parham and why should I listen to what he says? So I want to give you context, and I think you deserve to know exactly who's talking to you, right? So I've built multiple £1 million turnover businesses. I've made millions of pounds in business. I've made millions of pounds in property. I've been pretty well rounded, to be fair. And again, not a flex, not a brag, just simply the truth. So you understand who you're listening to when you're watching YouTube. And I guess that's all we all want, isn't it? To know, who is this guy? What's his background? What's he achieved? Why should I care? And honestly, I hope it really comes through that I'm coming from the right place. I'm not coming to the YouTube to try and sell you a course. I'm not trying to sell you a dream. I'm not trying to give you something that's unattainable. I just want to tell you the truth, and I want to give you some actionable steps to create business, to create wealth, to invest in property. You know, I did a video recently, the 5 steps to becoming a millionaire. I firmly believe that if you follow those 5 steps, you will achieve everything, right? We're talking about make a plan, live below your means, invest consistently in appreciating assets, not in depreciating assets. Give it all time to compound and review regularly to make sure you know if you're off track. I vehemently believe that if you do that, you will achieve your goals. You'll achieve any endeavor. So I'm coming from the right place, and I hope that comes through. And the last thing is, I really hope this video clears up any questions that anybody has. If you have any further questions, please feel free to comment below. I answer absolutely every single comment, but I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's cleared up any questions you might have about me. I'm going to invite my subscribers to come and see some of my projects. You know, I've got this one in Corby that's just finishing off. I'd love it if I could get all you guys to come down. We obviously have this COVID issue. Hopefully that's resolved in the coming months and we'll be able to all meet up and do some really cool things together. So I've been Mark Parham. I'll see you again on Wednesday, and thank you so much for watching and subscribing.